There we go. Okay. So with that, we will go ahead and begin with our Pledge of Allegiance, and we ask our veterans to come forward to lead us in the pledge.
All veterans may salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated, and please join us in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you all very much. Council members, you have the minutes from April the 26th. Have you all had a chance to review those? Are there any changes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from April 26th
So
as
moved.
submitted? Do
So
we have a
moved.
second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We also have the minutes from May the 10th, 2021. Are there any changes to those? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve as submitted?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, at this time, we will open the floor for citizen comment on public matters. If you have something you would like to share with us or share with the general public, please come down to our podium. Limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, and please be sure to speak into the microphone and state your name for the record. We will go on and open the floor.
Hello, my name is Bill Fleischer. Sometimes we need a contrast to help us appreciate things that we have. I just got back from Austin, Texas, where I was visiting one of my sons, and I can tell you that city is drastically different than when I visited 3 years ago. They have a new mayor that came out of California and brought some of the insanity with him and implemented some policies that were detrimental. He defunded the police, and there are 80 officers down from what they once were, allowed the homeless to go anywhere they want, and there's defecation on the streets and trash. And so as a result of this decision, the parts of the city and the downtown are trashed, crime rate has soared, people don't feel safe in their neighborhoods, and there's people that are leaving. So I was glad to get home. And as I was coming into Radford, it struck me how this west end of town has improved in the 45 years I've lived here. I know that we have some decay in the east end commercial district, but these are private properties, and I think the city has done what they can. So I tell you this as information and encouragement to keep our standards high. I was very gratified at a former council meeting where you recognized the police officers. These dedicated men and women have a very thankless job. And I can tell you, and I'm also thankful that you did with the fire and the EMTs, because as a citizen, if I need help and call, I know someone will come. So I encourage you to keep our standards high. I appreciate everything that you do, and I'm very proud to be a part of this wonderful little city. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything they would like to share with us this evening? Hearing none, seeing no one coming forward, we will go on and close the citizen comment portion, and we will take just a moment for those council members that would like to respond. I'll take the honor to begin. Thank you very much for your comments. I think it's a challenge to do all the things that we try to do, and rest assured that every person sitting up here is working to try to help find solutions for some really difficult problems that we face in our city, and we appreciate your comments. Are there any other thoughts?
Just to echo, thank you for your words. You're spot on, and we're grateful for your contribution to and just being willing to speak to the community.
Thank you all very much. We will move on with some resolutions, and tonight we have the opportunity to honor officers and their service to this community. Radford has been blessed for generations with wonderful women and men and canines in our police force who have served this community well through such incredible dedication with all the challenges that they face. Two of our officers, two of our police dogs, our canines, will be retiring. Things are changing a little bit in Virginia beginning July 1st, and it has expedited some of their opportunity to move on to greener pastures and enjoy their golden years as well. And so with that, I will turn the floor over first to Mrs. Foster for the retirement for Canine Max.
City of Radford, a resolution declaring Canine Officer Max retired from service to the Radford City Police Department and donating him to his partner and handler, Police Officer Justin Miller of the Radford City Police Department. Whereas Canine Officer Max is a German Shepherd serving the Radford City Police Department since 2014, and whereas Canine Max began his career as a contract working dog for the U.S. military overseas in Afghanistan as both an apprehension and detection canine. And whereas Canine Max's service has led to countless criminal arrests, seizures of drugs, guns, and currency, and whereas Canine Max has also aided multiple jurisdictions in various situations, including dispersing large crowds during potential volatile situations. And whereas Max is a viral sensation and has a large following of nearly 30,000 people on social media, his online presence has helped to build rapport within the community and nationwide between police canines and their communities. And whereas no value can be placed on the impact Canine Max has had in our community and worldwide, and whereas Canine Max will be retired from service to the Radford City Police Department, where he is expected to have many walks on the beach and cheeseburgers in his future, and Officer Justin Miller will accept full responsibility for him. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Radford City Council that Canine Officer Max is hereby declared retired, and same is authorized to be donated to Officer Justin Miller of the Radford City Police Department.
Okay. So before we do that, we're going to also recognize Canine Officer Duke and Forrest Height. Mr. Height has that. So Forrest, if you would please do so.
A resolution declaring Canine Officer Duke retired from service to the Radford City Police Department and donating him to his partner and handler, Police Officer John Furman of the Radford City Police Department. Whereas Canine Officer Duke is an 11-year-old Belgian Malinois serving the Radford City Police Department since 2014, and whereas Canine Duke began his career in Radford after serving the U.S. military overseas in Afghanistan, and whereas Canine Duke is trained in narcotics detection and his service has led to countless criminal arrests, seizures of drugs, guns, and currency, and whereas Canine Duke has also aided multiple jurisdictions in the seizures of illegal drugs and the arrests following, and whereas Canine Duke was often used in many community demonstrations and at public events to help the community better understand the role of police canines, and whereas Canine Duke is a valued member of the Radford City Police Department and community, and whereas Canine Duke will be retired from service to the Radford City Police Department, and Officer John Furman will accept full responsibility for him, now therefore be it resolved by the Radford City Council of Radford, Virginia, that Canine Officer Duke is hereby declared retired, and same is authorized to be donated to Officer John Furman of the Radford City Police Department.
Ms. Foster, do you have a motion for Canine Officer Max?
So moved.
Do we have a second for that motion?
Second.
Okay, and do we have a motion for Canine Officer Duke?
So moved.
Do we have a second for that motion? Second. As we have motions and seconds, all in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. I think these officers deserve a round of applause and a standing ovation. Chief Dodson, we'll turn the floor over to you for just a moment.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and members of council, just want to thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity tonight to recognize two very important members of our department. You know, many folks, they may see these dogs as a piece of equipment or just another tool that we have on our tool belt, but they truly are members of our family. And this is a sad day that, you know, they're moving on to that next chapter in their life, but it's a happy day because both of these dogs, both Duke and Max, they've not only served this country, but they've served this Radford community dedicated and assisted with, you know, our mission and accomplishing our mission with keeping the community safe. So I just have a couple plaques and medals that I'd like to present MPO Miller and MPO Furman and both Duke and Max as well.
Can we ask you all to come down front for those presentations? And Jenny, if you'll do a photo, and we've got these resolutions if you all want to join them down there. And the other three of us can just stand up here and smile. How about that? We have our resolutions for you as well. The dogs are like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Yep, exactly. Chief, why don't you come on down front here as well? And let's get the whole council in here, and we'll just do it all like this. How about that? Chief, if you'll come right here, that's good. We're good? Here we go. Good. Thank you all very much. That's pretty special to be able to honor these officers in this way, and these canines have made a difference in the lives of our police family and in our community. But next, I have the honor to recognize someone who is a legend in her own time, I will say. 34 years with the Radford City Police Department, beginning with the Communications Department and moving all the way up to interim chief in 2019. Angie Fry has been a hero to so many individuals, has helped lead with distinction, and has really been an inspiration for those folks who are interested in police work, for young women especially, who are interested in this line of work and in leadership in general. And as such, I have a resolution I'd like to read and introduce on behalf of Angie's retirement coming up here at the end of June. Whereas the Radford City Council wishes to honor the service and contributions of Angie M. Fry to the City of Radford, and whereas Angie has served the City of Radford Police Department in many areas, beginning her career in 1987 in communications, and whereas in her tenure with the department, Angie was promoted to patrol officer, detective, patrol sergeant, administrative lieutenant, deputy chief, and acting chief, and whereas Angie Fry has been a mentor to many Radford City Public School students during her years of teaching DARE, and whereas Angie's contributions to the Radford Police Department include serving in various roles as the accreditation manager, evidence custodian, crime prevention officer, grant writer and coordinator, field training officer, community speaker, and whereas Angie Fry was Radford's first female sergeant, first female lieutenant, first female deputy chief, and first female acting chief. And whereas Angie has many educational accomplishments during her career, she earned her associate's degree and bachelor's degree in criminal justice, as well as completing police executive leadership training. And whereas Deputy Chief Angie Fry has served Radford with honor, committing her life to protecting and serving Radford's families, businesses, neighborhoods, schools, and community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Radford does hereby honor and thank Angie M. Fry for her 34 years of leadership and dedicated service to our community. I think that deserves a round of applause before we do anything else. I would like to make a motion that we adopt this resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. And the ayes have it. Angie, please come down front. Council, please join me down front. Chief, join us, and then I know you've got some things you want to present as well. There you go. I don't think we can ever thank you enough for the service you've given this community, and we're so appreciative of everything you have done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. And Chief, if you want to head to your podium, I know you have some things you want to present as well. Please do. Yeah, well, no, we want to keep you up here, I think. Why don't you stay up here with us?
So wow, how do you top that resolution there? But Mayor, you took the words right out of my mouth. Angie, I thank you for your 34 years of service. I don't think we can ever thank you or repay you enough for that. I can tell you personally, as someone being here 18 months, coming in, not knowing Radford, not knowing what to do, you have helped me as a leader. You've helped me as a citizen of Radford. So for that, I'm truly grateful. I know I'm going to miss you personally, and I can speak for everybody in the room. I think we're going to miss you as well. So thank you for all that you've done, and we appreciate you. I got your cell phone. A little secret, I didn't tell Angie all these guests were going to be here, so surprise, Angie, they're here. But again, thank you for what you do, Angie, and best wishes for your retirement. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now you can go sit down, because I know you hate this, so thank you. Okay. As much as we hate to say goodbye to these officers, we are thankful for their service, and we know how fortunate we are as a community to have had them be a part of things keeping us safe. At this time, we do have a proclamation recognizing the month of June as Pride Month, and as such, I'm going to turn the floor over to our Vice Mayor, Ms. Huntington.
Thank you. Whereas Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month is celebrated each year in the month of June to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, New York, which sparked the movement for LGBTQ equality. And whereas Pride celebrations have evolved to highlight the modern LGBTQ...
Hang on. This is so important. We want to let everybody have a moment together, and then we'll come back to this. So we can just pause. We're fine. And we'll start again. Yeah, please do, please do. We're happy to give it to you. Hey, and thank you.
Thank you. Maybe we can shut the door.
What? I think they have to remain open for legal purposes. It's fine. We're just going to pause for a couple more minutes and give everybody a chance to have their much-deserved celebration.
And also wipe our eyes, those resolutions. I don't know if I've had so many resolutions that had my eyes watering for some reason. We're shutting the door again.
We're fine. We're fine. I didn't want anybody to feel kicked out. So I'm going to restart this part of the meeting over again. June is Pride Month, and as such, we have a resolution to be presented by the Vice Mayor.
All
Naomi?
right, here we go again. Whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer Pride Month is celebrated each year in the month of June to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, New York, which sparked the movement for LGBTQ equality. And whereas Pride celebrations have evolved to highlight the modern LGBTQ rights movement, and whereas the purpose of this commemorative month is to recognize the hardships faced by the LGBTQ community, as well as the impact that LGBTQ individuals have had on history locally, nationally, and internationally. And whereas Pride is a celebration of all LGBTQ community members who are an important part of the diverse tapestry of individuals and families that make up the city of Radford. And whereas the city of Radford recognizes that the struggle for equality and acceptance for LGBTQ people is advanced by the dedication of advocates and allies who promote tolerance and inclusion. And whereas the city of Radford continues to work towards becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential. And whereas Pride Month encourages self-acceptance, tolerance, and open-mindedness, now, therefore, the City of Radford does hereby recognize the month of June 2021 as Pride Month in the City of Radford and encourages Radford residents of all sexual orientations and gender identities to celebrate and reflect on the vital role Pride plays in building a community that is stronger, more diverse, and welcoming to all. Mr. Mayor, I offer this proclamation for consideration.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have another important date coming up in June, and this year is actually one of the most important after last year. Juneteenth was recognized as a holiday officially in the Commonwealth of Virginia after many years of sort of flying under the radar, and I've asked Mr. Burress to present a proclamation on behalf of our council.
Thank
The floor
you.
is yours.
City of Radford proclamation for Juneteenth 2021. Whereas Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, Jubilee Day, Liberation Day, and Emancipation Day, is a holiday celebrating the emancipation of those who had been enslaved in the United States. And whereas on June 19, 1865, General Gordon Granger announced that slaves in Texas were free by order of the President of the United States. The announcement came 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which had become official January 1st, 1863. And whereas freedmen in Texas organized the first of what became the annual celebration of Jubilee Day on June 19th, and whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth. Combining the words June and 19th, it has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. And whereas the City of Radford encourages everyone to observe Juneteenth as an opportunity to reflect, rejoice, and plan for a brighter future as we continue to address racial injustices in our society today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and Radford City Council that June 19th, 2021 be known as Juneteenth in the City of Radford. And we urge everyone to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation and our city. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to put forth this proclamation to be considered for approval.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. This has been a lovely period of our meeting thus far as we have talked about service, equality, and justice. And I can think of nothing better than to do that on Flag Day, June 14th, as we celebrate what that flag stands for. And also next, we're going to talk about July the 4th, which is all about independence and the birth of our nation. So the good news is July the 4th is going to look a lot more like it has in the past. We are going to still have the biggest and best fireworks in the New River Valley. We are going to have some music down at Bissett Park. Things will be trimmed just a little bit, but ultimately it should be a beautiful evening, and when Jimmy Fortune sings, we'll all smile and welcome in the birthday of the United States, and then fireworks will ring out over the city at 9:30 on July the 4th. As such, though, we are still thinking about the best way to keep everybody safe. And so we are going to try to work on some COVID mitigation, even though hopefully most folks will be in really good shape. We're going to spread things out a little bit. We are going to create sort of a grid pattern down near the gazebo so that folks can see an easier path to social distancing a little bit and enjoy the concert feeling safe and making sure that they keep their neighbors safe. One of my concerns was our transportation, because Bissett Park is a bit of a challenge. We think we can get, several thousand cars, a couple thousand, but we know a lot of folks ride the transit system, and as such, we wanted to make sure that's safe. So we are going to adjust our occupancy on the transit system a little bit to allow for some distancing to take place. Be sure to take care of our transit workers that way, and also adjust the lines some so that those aren't so heavily packed when it's time to exit the park. David, anything you want to add?
No, I think you've covered so much of it, Mayor. This is going to be a big event for us. Our first big gathering, I guess, since the pandemic, 19 months ago by the time we get around to July 4th. Everybody's really excited about it. We're going to have a fantastic fireworks display, so if you decide not to go to the park for some reason, get on the hillsides. You should be able to see them well into the neighborhoods. This will be a larger display like last year. With an extra few minutes as well as higher, and good quality. So come on out and enjoy our fireworks. The event will start at 1 o'clock and about 9:30, 10-ish time period with games and activities during the course of the afternoon. And then the evening will, of course, be our bands and presentations and stage type events. Everything's going to be further spaced out, as you mentioned earlier. We tried to take in every safety precaution that we could think of. We're going to also have some drawings for some shirts and things like that. So it should be a lot of fun. Hope for great weather and come out and enjoy. We're ready to go. Some great bands. The websites are now posted. Information is going out. We started last week while we were waiting for the final actions of the governor and the executive orders to come on through. That still goes to the end of June, so some of that may change by the time we get to July 1, but right now we're just working with what we've got. So I think we've got some good safety precautions in. We'll run as many buses as we can, 35 occupancy, get people spaced apart, encouraging walking as much as possible. People are able and comfortable to do that. I think that's a good way to get safely into the park. And then, of course, all of the vendors that are food vendors have got to be health department approved and either have a truck or be, they have to have a truck. So I think we've only got one that will be outside of that just because they're a regular restaurant to begin with.
And so, Melissa, can you talk a little bit about the transit part of things?
I was going to share that we still fall under federal guidelines, FTA guidelines, so masks still are required on the transit buses if you were to ride. So that's one of the things we have to still impose moving forward.
And I think we're going to do our best to have some masks available. I know we've still got some Be Committed, Be Well masks. Well, we'll make sure we have something. How about that? But bring your mask, ride the bus if you need to, just be safe. As we unwrap this COVID world that we've been in and we try to get back to normal, I think the biggest thing is that every step we take is very intentional and that we think of as many possibilities as we can so that we don't create a situation where something very happy turns into something less than happy.
And we also have all of our vendors and music folks also advertising the same Be Safe, Be Committed, Be Well program.
And so we will talk about this
Also have
again
really
in two.
cool swag.
We'll have cool swag. So
Yep.
Jenny has promised cool swag.
Free stickers, and I think Kim's going to be selling some like Spirit of America shirts.
I like it.
So
Maybe even
but
a raffle or
Spirit
two.
of America stickers. We might work on some raffles.
I like it.
Stuff like that. Get the logo out there too.
2 weeks from tonight, you may see some of those things displayed up here, and we will talk about that celebration a little bit further. Any questions, council? Okay, let's move on. At this time, we do need to talk about an amendment to our school system budget, and we're going to talk about this just a little bit, that the school board, and we have our chairperson, Lee Slusher, joining us here this evening, as well as our superintendent, Rob Graham. They've requested that the budget be amended to reflect some additional revenues and expenditures associated with our virtual academy, CARES Act funding, and a security grant. We're going to ask Mr. Graham to come forward and talk a little bit about that, and then we will open the floor for the public hearing in case anybody has any questions or comments regarding that. So, Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I hope you all have seen the budget amendment that we have, and would you like me to go through it?
Please
okay,
do. Take your
okay.
time and just go through each thing. Let's talk it through a little bit.
So the first thing that you see there is our operating fund 1, and that's the where we have most of our funding, most of our monies. But the K-12 Management Incorporated Virtual Student Services, that's our agreement with Stride, which was formerly K-12, and those are the outside non-residential students that we accepted this year in our school division, and that's what we anticipated the rate that we would have to pay Stride for their ADM minus the 5% administrative cost. You go below that, the bipolar ionization that we have in all of our schools now, with the exception of McCarg, the child care services for our teachers that we had on Wednesdays, and then on the hybrid days that children couldn't go to school, the security upgrades that we funded, that we needed to fund, and then our employee bonus. So those were the expenditures that we had. And then if you go down to the revenues, state funds came in really a lot better than we thought they would. So you see those, and then the security grant that we have, and then of course you all's support for helping us through COVID. That's the operating fund 1. What questions can I answer for you on those?
Let's go through it all, and then I think we'll come
Okay,
back to each
okay,
thing. How
sure.
about that?
So then Fund 3 is the grant funds, and these are, again, I didn't have that on there, but expenditures, the learning loss of hiring grade level assistants in their salaries and benefits, the school nurse, the extra school nurse that we had, and then the child care salaries and benefits too. The computer equipment, you can see, was quite a bit, so we had to order MiFis and extra Chromebooks and things of that nature. The PPE supplies that we needed, and the improvements to our facilities like touchless water fountains, touchless hand sanitizers, touchless towel dispensers, and then we had to get 2 new vehicles to help us with student transportation due to the fact that we couldn't put so many students on buses. So then you match that with the revenues that we had from the CARES Act Series 1, the CARES Act set aside, the CARES Act coronavirus relief funds, and then the learning loss assistance, which was provided by the state. And then our new Region 7 Virtual Academy, that would now be Fund 7 for us, and that's the Virtual Academy with the 17 divisions that we have out of 19 in Region 7. Just started. We talked about that at the last work session, and you can see the expenditures there and matched with the revenues that we have. So we look at that now, and our total proposed amended budget is $40,527,303.
Council members, what questions do you have?
I have a question about the school nurse, and it stands out in my mind because we had a fairly lengthy discussion of that previously. Is that an additional school nurse, or is that the one that we've?
It was for this year.
A new one.
It was for this school year, the
Okay.
2020-2021 school year.
Okay, thank you. That resonated with me. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, council members, any other questions? I have a couple of things I wanted to touch base on. The bipolar ionization, that is only for existing chiller air conditioning systems. I don't see anything in here for some of the upgrades we had talked about, like at the cafeteria and some of the other places. Are you going to do that out of your just regular capital funds this year, or what are we thinking about with that?
No, we're thinking about really saving our capital outlay funds to roll them over in case we have something come up that we're unsure about. The times are still so iffy right now, and we did another facility proposal just for those priorities that we had, and the prices came back a whole lot higher than we thought we would. Just for an example, the cafeteria and kitchen AC, when we priced it out in February, or it might have been even January, it was about $98,000 to do that. Now it's risen, it could be potentially as much as $340,000 with the increases that we're seeing due to COVID. So we're having to back up. We're putting a bid out for that just to see what type of cost we're gonna have to pay for that, and then we can move forward knowing that we still have the locker rooms, the gym, the King Center, several other places to put the air conditioning, but we just don't know what it's gonna cost. I can tell you that one unit, we did replace one unit on the administrative offices at the high school, and it was $68,000 just for that unit, just to replace it. So prices are outrageous right now, and we're gonna probably need to give it some time for them to go down. Plus, the time for just that one unit to go to the high school's 8 weeks is the least amount of time that will be the earliest that we get it in.
And with all of these, you're getting the bipolar ionization as
Yes.
part of it as you make those changes?
If we can afford it.
Okay.
A quick question. I know one of the presentations, it was mentioned that we weren't as concerned with some of the rising costs because some folks were already kind of tethered in to a contract and a price. So what were those elements again that we're kind of solid on, and there's not that renegotiation, a few months later?
The only thing that we have, Ms. Foster, would be kind of what we have with the contract at McCarg. All these other projects are brand new. So all the projects that we're wanting to do with the new ESSER 1 and ESSER 2 monies are all brand new. So we haven't bid those out yet. So we would be in a very, I guess, a high inflation time for the HVAC units that we want to get, and there's no guarantee that we can even get them. They're in such short supply right now. So all of those projects, the cafeteria, there's a water line in the cafeteria that we need to have done. The locker rooms, the Arnheim House, the main gym, the King Center, all those projects are going to probably have to be delayed. Not the cafeteria and kitchen. We're going to do that one no matter what the cost is, because we need to have that done.
And just out of clarity, and correct me if I'm wrong, this only reflects CARES Act and other grants and things like that. HEROES Act funds are not reflected in any of this at this time.
And no ESSER funds, no ESSER 1 or 2 funds either. Those are not reflected, just the CARES Act.
So we do have a potential pathway for some of these things with some of the HEROES money as that comes through the system. Is that a fair assessment?
I think we need to see what that first estimate is going to come back.
You all are
with.
getting yours through the state though, right? Yours comes differently than the cities?
It does come,
Yeah.
it's federal, but it does come through the state.
Right, okay. And is there any estimate on when you think you'll start getting the payments? I know ours are sort of split into 2 pieces. I don't know how yours is going to be
We
set
just
up.
finished writing, so we're waiting to get approval.
Okay.
And you have to spend all the money in the CARES Act grants
Right.
before you start spending the ESSER funds.
Okay. So there's a lot to take in with all of this, and I think this is good for tonight to talk about this, and I wanted to make those clarifications because there's a lot of money that we're trying to figure out where it's going to go. In 2 weeks, I know we're going to have a McCarg work session and an update. Can we also talk about where we are with those HEROES funds and everything else that we anticipate over the next 12 to 24 months and kind of have a visualization of where we are with all of that as well? Because I think so many of these things kind of relate to each other. Yes, there's this one piece tonight, and I don't want to confuse that, but looking at the other pieces, I think that's important to talk about as well.
I'm not aware of I haven't heard of the Heroes.
Well, that's the,
funds.
I'm not sure if they're getting it. That's the American Recovery.
it's the American Recovery Act money, and I think there is money for schools, isn't there?
I don't know anything,
Okay.
haven't heard anything about Heroes money. I'd like to have some.
But we'll have to check on that, because I thought there was separate money coming to you guys through that the city is receiving some monies.
Yeah, we're getting ours on our own.
Right, it's separate from that, but I thought there was money coming to the schools from the Heroes Act
I'll
as
check
well.
on that, but I haven't heard of that.
Okay.
I mean, we have the ESSER funds, which is about 1.1 million, and
Okay.
then the ESSER twos, which was about double that.
Okay,
But all of those projects that I just talked about would be, all the projects that we had, according to what we received from Thompson Litton, would be about $5 million to $6 million. So that wipes out all of our ESSER
Sure.
funds right there.
okay,
So there's not a whole lot that we
okay.
can do.
For the new vehicles for the student transportation, was one of those a full-size bus, or are they all smaller vehicles?
No, one was a 10-passenger van, and then the other was a Nissan Pathfinder.
Okay,
And we just purchased, we have to purchase another one because one of our vans went out of circulation, so we have a Toyota Sienna coming.
okay. Are there any other questions, council members? Okay, thank you. If you'll just hang tight, we'll see if anybody, we will go on and officially open the public hearing for the school board budget. It was advertised and is advertised to take place this evening. If anyone has any questions or comments, you can come up to the podium, state your name for the record. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing at 7:42. Okay. Council members, we have appropriation ordinance 1726.34. It is an amendment to the fiscal year 2021 school board budget. Do you have any questions? The amount of the amendment is $3,761,683. So the amendment will increase the total school budget for fiscal year 2021 to $40,527,303. Do we have a motion to approve appropriation ordinance 1726.34?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Wilder, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Burress?
Yes.
Ms. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Height?
Yes.
Ms. Huntington?
Yes.
Mayor Horton?
Yes. With something this,
I may need to adjust that, I just realized,
is your number off a little?
yeah, that's just Fund 1 in the bottom.
Okay, so we need to talk about the $4,067,000.
Yeah, so Fund 3, 4, and 5 is that 4 million.
The total budget is the same.
Yeah, we need to change the total for all of these revisions is 4,067,155. The Fund 1 is the only one that's 3,761.
Okay.
So we need to do a motion for everything.
Okay.
All three funds, I'm sorry.
So we will accept a motion to approve appropriation ordinance 1726.34 in the amount of $4,067,155. Do we have such a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion?
Real quick, it was advertised correctly.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
it's on there, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay.
Had a bit of a gasp there for a minute, and I realized
I know, I was like,
it's advertised correctly.
sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Will you call the roll again?
Mr. Burress?
Yes.
Ms. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Height?
Yes.
Ms. Huntington?
Yes.
Mayor Horton?
Yes. While I know we can dispense with a second reading, unless there's some reason to dispense with a second reading, I'd really rather do a second reading since this is a significant increase to the budget in case anybody wants to comment at our next meeting, since we didn't have anybody here for the public hearing tonight. Would that hold up anything if we don't dispense with the second reading? That won't hold us up. Let's have the second reading in 2 weeks, if that pleases council, because I do like to give people the opportunity to comment should they want to, and since we didn't have anybody here tonight, I wanted to make sure that opportunity was afforded. Okay, we do have some new business to talk about. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Lee. We do have some new business to talk about. The Virginia Resource Authority is helping us look at our bonds. When we started the McHarg project last year, well, concluded the McHarg project over the last year, as far as financing goes, we looked at the interest rates that were available to us, and as a council, we said it would be a good idea to review all of our debt to see what might make sense to refinance, what we might be able to get a lower interest rate on, and what could be done. Earlier this evening, we had a work session to discuss this. We are looking at 3 bonds. The bond associated with 2nd Avenue Park Road improvements from 2012 in the amount of $2,350,000. The public safety building remodels that took place in 2015 in the amount of $4,165,000, and the improvements to the Little River Dam, which was a slightly different loan in 2017 with an amount of $1,606,000. Basically, this will save the city, the taxpayers in total, about $4.6 million, $460,000. Didn't mean to get ahead of myself. And in total, we're looking at $15,000 to $20,000 a year in savings over the cost of the loans. We think this is a prudent way to do this. These were 3 important projects to improve transit in our community, to improve the public safety building and bring it up to standard, and to make the Little River Dam operate again. Basically, we are looking at, if we approve these this evening, savings that will help us have a little breathing room in the general fund, as I said, of about $15,000 to $20,000 a year. It doesn't impact our debt rating, it doesn't impact our overall ability to borrow, and it saves money. So it makes sense. David, what are your thoughts?
It's got everything in there. It's a great opportunity to save some money, especially anything that can help our general fund. We're saving $20,000 roughly a year on it, and a much better interest rate. You're never going to see this again, so down the road, somebody's going to look back 10 years and say, good gracious, how in the world did they get those 3% bonds? But great opportunity for us, and that looks back at all of our debt. Anytime we save, and especially in this case, $500,000, great. And that's what our bond counsel and our financial advisors recommending as well as myself.
Council members, do you all have any questions? Do we have a motion to approve Ordinance 1752 refunding our Virginia Resource Authority loans?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Wilder, please call the roll.
Mr. Burress?
Yes.
Ms. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Height?
Yes.
Ms. Huntington?
Yes.
Mayor Horton?
Yes. And we did have 4 affirmative votes, so we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to dispense with a second reading. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. The electric department is solicited proposals to provide 3 single-phase voltage regulators. David, let's talk about that a little bit. How's this going to improve things for the city?
The North Radford substation, which is the Fairlawn station, we had budgeted some improvements over there. It's one of our older stations. 3 regulators were needed. Went out to bid for those. They came in a little higher than expected. We had budgeted nearly this amount, but Eaton is going to be able to provide those. Part of the reason we didn't get bids is availability of product right now, cost, time of order, things like that. We can't wait too awfully long. We feel comfortable with this bid, and this is a proven company for us.
So we're looking at $97,242 to provide the 3 voltage regulators. And again, these are part of ongoing reinvestments in our electric system so that we are able to provide excellent service, we're able to get any efficiencies of new equipment, and we also don't put ourselves in a position where everything has to be upgraded all at once and we find ourselves behind the 8 ball trying to figure out how to make that happen. Council, do we have a motion to award the bid in the amount of $97,242?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to award the bid to Eaton Power Systems. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. And then finally, we are looking at some additional body-worn cameras. And Chief, I'm going to ask you to come down and talk to us just a little bit about this. We do have a grant, and it is to purchase an additional 15 body cameras. Chief, if you'll, when you get down here, talk to us a little bit about that and what it means to be able to do that for our officers.
So yeah, as you mentioned, Mayor, it's, we applied for a Department of Criminal Justice Services grant. It's a 50-50 match grant. We've had body cameras for a few years now. I think probably about 12, 16 months or so, we upgraded our body cameras to the WatchGuard system, which is a better quality camera. It's, you know, the recording is a lot better, and it also the storage. You know, we have a cloud-based storage system set up with that. Currently, we have enough cameras to outfit our patrol division, and then they're shared. You know, we don't have enough for each individual officer. What this grant will allow us to do is to issue each officer their own body camera and have some spares should we have, you know, detectives or something like that that are out working an assignment. So,
I think that's a great investment. I think it's smart. You know, I don't know that I realized originally that we were sharing so many, and so I think it's great to make sure everybody has their own so that there's no confusion. There can never be any concern with that. Council members, do you all have any questions? Do we have a motion to approve appropriation ordinance 1726.35 in the amount of $17,476, an $8,735 local match will be accommodated within the existing police budget to accomplish this? Do we have a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with the second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to dispense with a second reading of appropriation ordinance 1726.35. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. David, what do you have for us this evening?
A lot going on. Gracious. A lot going on. Okay, thank you. I felt really special there. So last night, of course, we had almost derecho type winds come through. Any of you that may have been outside saw what a strong front came through. I cannot say enough how impressed I am. Although we talked about electric mostly in our conversations yesterday evening, water crew was out. We did have a couple of issues in water lines, sewer lines, nothing significant. But the crews come out, Public Works was out, got trees out of the road, got power back on as quickly as we could. We had one troublesome area where a large tree fell on a line. It was in a wooded area, but they worked on it until it was repaired by 9:30 the next morning. So, and then also our public safety folks who watched the traffic lights and were out helping in that part of it. So feel good that, it makes me feel good to know that anytime I don't have to worry that we ever get to the point that we don't have folks come out when they're needed. So many, many thanks to all of our departments who responded last night. As soon as the lightning subsided enough, they were right on the job. So that's very special for our community and for our residents and means a lot for service provision. Also, wanted to mention that we have met with we're not going to be able to do the work ourselves. I mentioned to you all, like everybody, we're having trouble getting enough work. So we're trying to stay caught up. You see the beautiful flowers are planted. Nick and them are staying right on top of that to get as much planting. We've been working on the gateways, the next project. They worked, if it's dry enough, they worked on Riverview Park today, painting flagpole and getting the soils leveled out there to get ready to do some plantings. So we're making the community look very good. But we did meet with a private contractor to help us with the sidewalk project that we've been talking about on West Main from about Forest Avenue back to Ingalls. They're going to give us a date and price in the next few days. So hopefully, looks like it's probably going to be second, third week of July, but I'll confirm that with you so we can get some information out there and blast the project out. So it's going to be a wider sidewalk, 5 foot, replace all that broken stuff that's out there now. So
before we leave that, is there going to need to be a carryover appropriation ordinance next time, since that'll be taking place?
We'll do it with our lump sum appropriation and the carryover. It depends on how fast they get to us. If we're able to get a purchase order together, you maybe do the work right after the first of the year, but as long as the first of the fiscal year But we've got it already earmarked, so if that all works fine. If not, it'll just roll to our VDOT funds and we can pull them back out, so it's not a big issue.
Did they feel like they can do it within the general amount that we had set aside for that? I mean, I know it's tough because they haven't given you a formal estimate.
They didn't commit, and all prices, as you've heard several times tonight, prices on everything are just up right now, but we do anticipate to be able to do it for the price we had established, so.
And for those folks in West End, this is just part of the continuous improvement that we want to make in that area. Mr. Fleischer spoke to that a little bit this evening about how much we're attempting to do these things. I think this is a priority regardless. This is a safety issue, this is an access issue, and it's also a community pride issue that we have to keep up. So thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine, and very quickly, we're advancing RAVE based on our meeting, a couple meetings here a while back. Jenny, if you'll brief everybody on where we are, where we're going.
Yeah, so after our meeting, I guess a couple weeks ago, we've advanced our contract with RAVE. We're signed into our contract with RAVE, so we actually can now use all their marketing materials. Emily and I had a very quick, like 15 to 30 minute Zoom meeting with their head of marketing last week to get some stuff out and rolling that will be available at July 4th, as well as all of, the police department has a lot of events, community events coming up this summer, so material they can use at those, as well as what the best rollout marketing type of plan is for us. And then we met quickly with her. We're really just going to push Smart 911. So the idea within that is if you sign up for Smart 911, you have the opportunity to select what RAVE alerts you want to sign up for as well. And so we're just going to push Smart 911, try to get people signed up for that, and that will also push the alert system at the same time. They have so many resources, I haven't even been able to go through half of them. And I have another meeting with them tomorrow on our rollout of Smart 911. I had one last week on the rollout of the alert system. So they're really on the ball. They're so, like, you can send them an email and they'll meet with you the next day. So I think we're going to have really great resources at our fingertips. We're going to have MDTs and I think some communications officers and police officers at the park on July 4th signing people up. So just trying to get our people out there and pushing the info, but not just allowing other people to come in and have a way to sign up for that system. So as I get a full marketing and rollout plan put together, I will send that to you guys so you have it.
Last time was a good example. We had two distinct areas that were a power issue that we could be pushing out and say, hey, they're in this general rain.
Yes.
Power outage.
So I got civic alerts.
Yes, so our civic alert contract isn't up yet, so once that one goes out, those shouldn't come anymore. And you can choose within RAVE alerts to sign up for weather alerts if you want them or not. My hope would be they don't come as often as the civic ready.
Yeah, civic alert was frequent.
Yeah, like every 5 minutes.
That's fine. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Council, what do you have? Naomi?
Sure. Well, am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. I'll just speak to everybody who's watching us online right now. You can see all of us, but you couldn't see earlier that we had a packed house, and it was just wonderful to see so many members, mostly of our law enforcement community this evening, come out. And I think that I speak for all of us on council that it was just wonderful to see so many people here. And so I just wanted to extend an invitation for people to come back out again and join us for our meetings, which also reminds me that we do have a number of openings on our boards and commissions. And so if you're interested in getting even more involved with the city, please look online and see what is open and come join our team.
And we're going to be doing some appointments at our next meeting, right?
You should be, yes. I'm hoping to get you a list of what I have this week, and then we can, if there's somewhere we still need people to apply, we can push that a little more. So get you the app so you have at least over a week to review them.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Jesse, what do you have?
Yes, so I also wanted to add, since we're speaking a lot about our officers this day, we are going to be seeing more bikes out. So there has been some improvements in our bikes program, so you're going to see a lot more socialization. I can tell you the ice cream social with the officers, that was true fellowship, it was symbiotic, there were just smiles all around, and it was very nice. I want to just also point out that the Rec Center website tells of activities on the 4th. I'm getting a lot of questions about that, so I just want to reiterate that. The other thing I was hoping the city manager might go ahead and just put out there, because there seems to be a lot of dialogue in the community about it right now, is the street sweeper schedule. Can you tell us what our street sweeper schedule is?
Well, we don't have a specific schedule. What we do is like storm last night, street sweeper will be out tomorrow, is out some today. We'll do it regularly through as we pick up debris and things like that. Sweeper runs very early in the morning, because we have to do it when there are no cars on the streets. We get all of our main streets, Wadsworth, Rock Road, East and West Main Street, Tyler Avenue, Jefferson, Walker, Forest are the ones that are the main grids or corridors. And then we get, right after the winter months, we get all the streets in our city. Anywhere the streets we would go, you've seen it, it's very large, it's only one piece of equipment, very large, we have to be careful where we're able to take it. We take the neighborhoods where we can. And then after we go through and sweep everything, if folks have if there's a problem with PC, a storm drain that's blocked, or there's been some runoff in some area, or if there's an issue with, like last time we see more storm debris, we'll send the street sweeper in. At any time somebody can call, we'll send out somebody immediately to take a look. And within a couple of days, we can usually get sweeper out there and sweep. We're trying to take good care of it. It's getting its age on it, but the replacement is pretty expensive, right at $300,000.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to ask about that. Is that something we need to just go on and put in our capital plan for the next few years? Because,
I've been putting it off because
Yeah.
with COVID, it's just been,
I know,
as long as the one we've got is working, our plan is, and the prices have been higher. The next one we get will be a little bit more neighborhood friendly. It's more truck. You've seen the
Yeah.
large truck versions of it. It will be a Pelican, which is a large tractor-looking type apparatus. So this will be able to get into more neighborhoods. It also has detachable pieces, so you're able to take it somewhere, almost like a vacuum cleaner and hook something.
would it qualify under any of our HEROES Act money? Okay. All right, sorry, Jesse. go
No,
ahead.
no, good questions. Yeah, no.
It is 100% eligible VDOT, so once we catch up with the University Drive Bridge and West Main and some of these other paving projects, that will come back in. I'm hoping we may see it in next year's budget. I do have in mind that if things go okay, about mid-year, we might come in and do a special appropriations. I had the budget to go out, but before y'all voted on it, I pulled it out, so I'm not.
Okay, well, I think the main thing is that folks know that the street sweeper is working. I know one evening in which, I guess morning, I had insomnia, I saw it passing at 4 a.m. and there'd been so much dialogue. I was like, there he is, there he is. But I think the other important point is that if someone feels like their street is problematic, they can give you a call. So even though it's hitting the main roads, if a side road needs attention, we're certainly open to looking at that. All right, so the other thing,
Also do bring out for special things, like if there's been a vehicle accident or something like that, it can come out and sweep
Okay.
the area. There's,
Like the Highlander half, like we swept the entire half marathon course prior to the event.
yeah, good point. And then also like
The bike race, yeah.
glass, anything like that, there's a bike event.
Parade, Rite of Silence before those, so any type of events where they're available.
A very useful piece of equipment. I mean, we
Yeah.
use it regularly, and you have to have CDL license, so there's 3 people in the department that know it very well, use it.
how old is it, out of curiosity? What's the age of our street sweeper?
It's 20.
We'll say it's probably 18.
Yeah, I was going to say 20 years old, easy.
We had one that was like it before.
Yeah.
They last a long time. Unless we take good care of it. Usually it's brushes and things that are harder to get. So when it's down,
Right.
it's usually because of that.
Getting the replacement parts.
And all still good.
Okay. Well, like I said, there was just a lot of conversation. I just wanted to just address it for everyone that had questions officially. So this is a great month to continue our conversation with Diverse Our City. It is a working group that we started right around last March, and I guess I don't need to place on repeat what happened, what transpired. So we were put on hold, and I will say, I've been looking at a date to put it on the schedule, and I am very happy to tell you that our community members certainly have a good push to get this back up and running. They're very excited about that. So our first, I won't say first, I would say
Upcoming.
our 1.5 meeting is going to be June 22nd at 6:30 at the Public Library. And again, this is just the beginning of the working group, so we'd like to see everyone out there. Everyone's welcome, and we're open to ideas on how to make it the most effective working group that works with the City Council as possible. So again, June 22nd, 6:30, Public Library. A big thank you to Elizabeth at the library for helping me with some flyers. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank her because I did work her on Saturday. So I have a few things this evening. You know, sometimes I get props. So for Pride Month, one thing I wanted to bring up and I found interesting is the flag that's utilized now. It's gone through some changes, but the one popularized currently, question I had is, what does the rainbow actually mean? So I looked it up and I was very moved, and certainly I would think it's something everyone can get behind. So I'm going to tell you what each of those colors mean in that flag. Red is for life, orange is for healing, yellow is for sunlight, green is for nature, blue is for peace, and purple is for spirit. So in that spirit, I have something for all of council members. I thought this was very clever. I had to go to Roanoke. That's how much I care about you guys. But Skittles has a pride pack, and it says, Skittles gives up its rainbow in support of the one that matters during Pride. And I thought that was just pretty amazing. So you still have the same flavors, in case you're a big Skittles fan. But I did bring one for all of council. And I have some for our wonderful support crew too. So I've got all 4 of you a bag as well. So again, I just, in the spirit of Pride Month, I just wanted to kind of reiterate what that flag meant, because I do think when you take that flag into its pieces, it certainly has something that resonates with almost all of us, hopefully all of us. All right, you guys done with my props yet? One more thing. Former Councilman Rob Groteman has started a program. He is selling some shirts. I'm sporting one today in case anyone is wondering what they look like on. So this is Friends of RCPD, and what this particular fundraiser does is, in the event that something happens to one of our officers in the line of duty, if they do perish, then there would be funds set aside, additional funds from the city support to assist that family. So in saying that, I have 6 of them tonight, if anyone's interested, 5 large, 1 medium. They are $20 each. You will find them at Radford Drug, so they are assisting with this. There is a bank account associated. It's the National Bank, so you can also make a direct donation. And I'm gonna put it in the words of Mr. Groteman. These shirts are to promote and support our Radford City PD, and all funds go towards a line of duty fund. So there's been also $1,200 raised so far, and we are ordering more shirts. We as in Rob, not as in me. I'm just letting you know about it. So again, if anyone's interested, you can pick them up at the drugstore, or I can sell you one today, Council. I've got them with me. Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, thank you. So anyway, they are great shirts too, great quality. The other thing I wanted to bring up just briefly when we're talking about Juneteenth, I can tell you this committee, they had some amazing ideas because it's diverse, our city, so that encompasses a lot. So we're talking everyone welcome, and we're going to celebrate everyone's uniqueness and specialness. So one of the amazing ideas that they had, just to kind of piggyback on Juneteenth, is they were looking at maybe working with the city obviously, but having flags of historically black figures up and down Main Street. So we have the flags, you know, and those connectors available, so start using them to celebrate every month. those folks that we want to recognize. So that was just one idea. This group is amazing. But that was just one idea that they come up with, which I thought was really clever and really nice and also educational. Okay, I think I'm done.
Thank you. Mr. Burress.
Well, I'm not going to top that, so just know that. All right, so I think I'm the only father on the panel, so I'm going to wish, I won't see you guys till next week. Oh, Lynn, there you go. And same last name, same sounding with different spelling. So I just want to wish all the fathers in Radford a happy Father's Day coming up in this coming Sunday. I know Mother's Day usually gets all the hype, so I get it. So I'm expecting we get our ties, our underwear, and our socks. I like them all, so I'll take it all. And I'll take candy as well, so thank you, Jesse, for that.
You're welcome.
So that's my only thing for tonight. Just wish all the fathers in Radford a happy Father's Day. I know being a father to me means a lot to me. Just hearing that word daddy or dad resonates really well in your heart, and so mom as well. So I just want to wish all those individuals in Radford, whether you're biological or non-biological father, if you're serving that role, thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Height?
Only to say I've got my 20 for one of those larges.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of things. I want to thank everybody for reaching out this last week. We lost my mom, Lois, and everybody's been really kind. I appreciate the flowers and the comments, and I was real lucky. I had a great mom, and she did a wonderful job through some challenging times. One of the things I hope that we are going to be able to do as a council is take a look at how we're providing support for the parents in our community as we try to move out of this COVID thing and get the world a little bit back to normal. But I'm real appreciative of our Radford family because I see us all come together. Tonight was beautiful because we saw a lot of the Radford family coming together to celebrate Angie and to celebrate Max and Duke and to just celebrate, again, this family that may not always get along, but ultimately we can all come together and appreciate each other. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who's reached out and who's supported our family during a pretty challenging time. We've got a lot of good things happening, and I think, you know, as you hear things that are taking place tonight, and we're going to talk about some more things in a couple of weeks, we're working really hard to try to make sure that we invest in our community and we invest in our people and continue to move forward. And right now, we do need to go into a closed session, so I'd like to make a motion to convene a closed session meeting for the purpose of discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body, and evaluation of performance of departments under Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1. I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. As such, we will have to ask you all to leave us for a few minutes, and then we'll get back together in just a little while. Thank you all for joining us this evening.